Well, we're glad those of you that have joined, or want to welcome you and to our May Lunch and Learn. How time flies is amazing. And I know we'll have another one on June 5th, so we hope you can join us for that one as well. But today we're excited that we have Adam Klug here. And he is the managing director at Specialized Recruiting Group. I'm going to tell a little bit about his background, but before I do, I just wanted to mention this is being recorded. So, just so you know, we will be sending out the Zoom link after a day or two after the presentation, so you can review anything that you may have missed. If you have any question, I know Adam mentioned just you can either pipe up, unmute yourself and ask a question, or you can put it in the chat. I'll be monitoring the chat. It's going to be more of a discussion, versus a PowerPoint and presentation. So Adam has a lot of knowledge, so we want to pick his brain and have him share all that with us as we prepare for our career fair and you go ahead and embarking on your job search. So my name is Cheryl Carr. To help to introduce myself, I'm with Career Services and I'm an advisor. I meet with students and alumni and help them with their job search or anything related to your job search, whether it's your resume, interviewing, LinkedIn profile. So if you're interested in that type of service, please just email Career Services and we're happy to meet with you. So I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about Adam and then he'll get going. So he launched his career at a prominent M&A advisory firm, specialized insurance, distribution, and wealth management. And then he was able to transform that startup in Grand Rapids to a multi-million-dollar book of business and established that in downtown Detroit. So he's a graduate from Grand Valley University. He has spent 8 years in the U.S. Army. Thank you for your service. And beyond his professional life, he is a fan of Detroit sports, UFC, and soccer. During weekends, he loves to spend time with family or friends, explore breweries, travel Airbnbs, and spend cherishing time with his wife and golden retrievers, Maple and Molson. So I'm a dog grandma, so I get that. So anyways, thank you for being with it, Adam. I'll go ahead and hand it over. And again, this is going to be an interactive discussion. We want you guys to jump in and ask questions and any type of thing, questions you may have, please don't hesitate.
Yeah, well, no, I appreciate everyone being here today, jumping on a Zoom call at the middle of lunch when we're all hungry, right? But no, definitely appreciate that. And Cheryl, thanks for the introduction, inviting me along to speak and talk. I know a few points I want to hit on today. How to kind of construct your elevator pitch. I know there's a career fair coming up soon. Want to talk about LinkedIn profile as well too. I'm certified in LinkedIn, which is basically it's a fluffed up thing to say, hey, pay some money, take some exam, and have the certification for it. But it's awesome to have. And then also want to hit on some resume, just coaching, resume building. That's what I see every day, all day, and that's what my team sees as well too. And just to give before I start a little bit, on my background as well. I fell into recruiting. I've always been in recruiting from an internship till now. Recruited across the US for very small companies from, 5 employees to, multi-million-dollar businesses, Fortune 100, Fortune 500, and a lot of different type of positions, anything from insurance, which is an interesting space, from commercial property and casualty benefits, to all the way construction, civil engineering, accounting and finance, HR, a little bit IT. Definitely not an IT master in recruiting though, but could still spread some knowledge on that. This is what I love to do. I mean, the reason why I'm here, I love to see the impact that when it is recruiting, how it impacts a person's life, the community, the business community, and then seeing them, everyone that we recruit or seeing people get new jobs, it's life changing, and to find that right job is just amazing to see. And so And I know you all put in some questions, so if you see me look away, I want to hit on a few questions that you all put together in that too. But I guess first start off with elevator pitch, since I know there's a career fair coming up soon. And so I've been to, many career fairs myself. Usually I'm on the opposite side of the table and trying to recruit people in. But, when I was in college, walking around the career tables, how to manage that, how to go through that. And so I would say the best thing to do, kind of break it down into three parts, what to do, before the career fair, during the career fair and after the career fair. So, before the career fair, I have some more people jumping in. Awesome to see. Cool. So talking about for the people that just joined, I know just mentioned I have a career fair coming up, and talking about the elevator pitch, kind of breaking it down to three parts, what to do before the career fair, during the career fair, and after the career fair. And so before that career fair, starts, hopefully, correct me if I'm wrong, Cheryl, there's going to be a list of all the employers sent out and everyone that's going to be there. Okay, awesome. And so, looking at that, you got some time to prepare, pick out, I would say, 5 to 7 companies, and look on their website, what they do as a business, who they are, their core values, and then look at their career page. What open positions do they have? And just kind of get some of that, basic information detailed down. And so, as you're doing that, have a notebook, write in your journal before, okay, hey, here's what this company does, here's open positions, here's why I might be interested. So just simple, basic research. And then, if you see anyone, I would say, I'm going to talk about LinkedIn too, but if you see anyone on LinkedIn, at that company that you do want to connect with, maybe it's in your discipline or your major, that you're going after for or graduated with, okay, definitely make sure to connect with them. So for example, if you're getting your, let's say, information technology degree, right? Who's the IT manager? Who's the IT director there? Go ahead and reach out saying, saw your company is going to be hosting at the career fair. Excited to meet, the team when I'm there. Or if you're an accountant, who's the CFO? Who's the controller that's there? Reach out to them on LinkedIn, connect with them, send them a short little note, just to put yourself out there. So do a little bit of research before, and then once going into the career fair, having that information, when you do walk up to the table, of course, I would hope that everyone has numerous copies of their resume printed off before. And so, print off a lot of copies of your resume. The employers are gonna, ask for that anyways. But when you're going up, to the table, say, hi, my name's Adam. Actually did a little bit of research about your company before, saw online, and just pick, one thing out about their company that you can mention to them. And that, that then and there, just having a little bit of research, it goes a long, long way. So I can't tell you how many times it's going on 8 years, 9 years of recruiting, where even when people get interviews, they don't do any research on the position or the job and everything after I tell them. So just that one thing, or pick out 1 to 3 things that's really going to grab that attention when you are walking up to that table, introducing yourself, and putting yourself out there. And really, I would say elevator pitch. I know we might have some alumni, students that are currently attending, or people that have just graduated, really saying, hey, be vulnerable, right? Saying, hey, my name's Adam. I just graduated with my degree in accounting. I noticed this on your website, which I found really interesting. You're rated top by Cranes or whatever is coolest places to work. That's awesome. I'd love to hear more about that. And they'll probably talk back. It's like, oh, wow, glad that you did that research, on the company, and have that conversation, and saying, hey, I'm an accounting student. I'm looking for my first staff account position, or the position that you're targeting. Here's my resume. Do you all have any openings right now? What does that look like? When are you guys hiring? And just really ask more of those, open-ended questions in a sense, right? To get a response back. And so that would look like, oh, why, you're here. Why do you love working here? Right? What's so great about this company? What's so special about this company that you can tell me? And then, through that too, in the career fair, I would say a lot of companies send their human resources team, right? So they're responsible, they're tasked for, recruiting and hiring. And so, really get the next point of contact from that person saying, hey, if they are in HR, if they're not, potentially going to be your direct manager one day, hey, it's great to meet you. Is there anyone besides yourself that I should follow up with or I should know in your IT department, communications department, accounting department, that I should connect with? Any help is appreciated. And so really, I mean, being vulnerable, put yourself out there, but majority of the time, I would say if you always at the end ask for help or, hey, can you point me in the right direction? We're all communal people and we naturally all want to help each other out. Especially if they're taking their time to do their career fair, they came there for a purpose too. They're looking to hire. They may not have any, positions for you. But that doesn't mean it's not never right now. It's not never always. It's just, hey, you still put your name out there and put the feelers out there too. And then most likely at the career fair, you're going to be giving your resume. Most likely that company's going to give you a business card back. And so from that too, okay, let's talk about after the career fair, what you should do or, how you should go about handling it. So you have all these contact information, you put yourself out there, you're like, oh, this is great. I just met a lot. Okay. Next step is you have their information, their business card, shoot them an email and say, I just want to thank you so much for your time. Talk with me today, talk about the company and openings that you have. If you have an opportunity that comes up that I could be a good fit for, I would love to stay connected and I'd love to hear more about that when that's open. Or if they have something currently right now, hey, I'd love to put, my foot in the ring and, apply for the position. How would I go about doing that? And so, putting that in an email, following up that way, or even, if you're so bold to do it, if they give you the card, hey, give them a call too, right? Wait, I would say, probably anywhere between, 4 days to like a week after. So it doesn't feel like, they got to go back to work. They got to get caught up and scheduled with everything. But at least, they know you took the effort to actually reach back out after the fact, which a lot of people just don't do, at their career fair. And it's nice for you all too, because you can pick and choose, right, who you want to reach out to, who you want to continue a conversation with. Then I'll just take a next step further would be, okay, find them. If you do have a LinkedIn profile created, which I think, at this point, everyone should have a LinkedIn created out there. It's just saying, connect with them on LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, when you do connect with someone, there'll be kind of two areas, send with a note or send without a note. If you send with a note, it'll give you 100, I think it's 150 characters to type in. And so definitely add that note in there saying, hi, so-and-so. I had a great time meeting you at the career fair. I'd love to learn, more about your company, positions that you have open, career opportunities with it, and just wanted to connect on here so we can stay connected. Something of that, you can wordsmith it any way as possible. But to the point of it too, if you send, an email, and then you connect with them on LinkedIn, I mean, it's 2 points of contact there. And people don't forget that. If you're as interested in that company as they are interested in you, you're going to be put to basically the top of the stack of resumes, rather than just, applying to a position, crossing your fingers and hoping things will happen. But I'll take a pause there. I just wanted to see if anyone had any questions. I know Cheryl's monitoring the chat. Feel free, come off. It's very informal, so I'm an open book. I mean, come off of speaker or mute if you want to, or drop any questions in the chat, and I'll take any questions. If there's any questions, how to deal, with the career fair,
I,
or yeah.
oh, someone has a question. I have a question real quick. What if, because students say that, oh, maybe they're looking for a marketing job and a company's there that they want to apply to, but they posted that they're looking for something in sales or accounting, but not marketing specifically. How would you handle that if you go up and talk to that employer?
Yeah, I would say, from my knowledge, right, specifically that example, sales and marketing are tied together a lot, right? And so even if, let's say, walk to the table and saying, oh, shoot, they don't.
I think we lost them. I don't know if it's his internet. Send him. Give him a few more minutes. Well, anyways, I guess I'm gonna speak while he logs back on, to that question about the career fair specifically. I do think that the networking is so important. So even if you want to work for a company and they don't have anything posted, you never know if they have something that could be coming down the road. So my suggestion is that you ask that person if they have a, say a person in the marketing department that you could connect with. If they have that, the name of somebody, they may not have their contact information right there, but you could connect with them on LinkedIn and let them know you met one of their recruiters at our career fair. And I think it would be valuable because it's like a warm approach. And just by having that person contact name, you could connect with them on LinkedIn and contact them. So I do want to mention that. Does anybody else have any questions while we wait for Adam to come back on specifically?
Can I please ask this question? Thanks for
Please.
putting this wonderful seminar together. I want to ask, are we going to know the names of those companies before the career fair on the 15th?
Yes, it's on the website. You go into the career fair, and then go under details, and then you'll see scroll down, participating employers.
Okay.
So you will see all the employers, and we still are signing up employers, just so you know. We haven't, it's not a complete list. In fact, I'm working on that today. We're getting our employer bags and getting ready for it. It's a week away. I just think it's a really good opportunity to get a face-to-face with an employer. And this is
the reason why I'm asking the question is that it's also good for us to know a bit background of the company, so as to be able to know a bit of the background of the company, so as to be able to speak as if we have known them a bit. So that gives them comfort to even give us warm welcome. So they will know that we are interested in them by knowing a bit of them, and they may be willing to push us further. Okay. That is what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys, my internet went out, so I'm on my phone.
No problem. I'm so glad you could log back in. I did answer my own question that I asked, but we have a couple questions in the chat. Hi, Adam, how should our LinkedIn, wait a minute. Let me see. How should our LinkedIn profile be? Should we be engaged by posting multiple things, or just keep our profiles up to date and search for jobs? So I know that you haven't talked about LinkedIn yet. But
Yeah.
we'll go ahead and start, addressing some of these questions. But go ahead, take it away.
Sorry about that, everyone. We're having internet connectivity issues, so technology, right? But I
Wow.
would say for on LinkedIn, we're going to have more engagement for it. Yes, you can post things out there, but where most engagement drives from is if you comment, if you like a post, or if you share a post and then put your own thoughts on it. And so that is really where you're going to drive the more engagement from, because on LinkedIn, just in general, the more connections that you have on there, if you do like, comment, or repost someone's post and add your own thoughts to it, then that spreads out to all of your connections that you have, but also it spreads out and it notifies people that, so that person that you're connected with, all of their connections can see that as well too. And so more of the time from that, people will be, reaching out to you, or that's the hope, reaching out to you rather than you reaching out to them. So that really drives more engagement. I would say always post if you can, either an article that you found or what you found that was insightful from that article, but more traction you're going to get is from, liking, commenting, or resharing a post, from one of your connections with your own thoughts. And just to, hit on LinkedIn profile and what that looks like. And so I'm definitely a nerd on LinkedIn, that's for sure. I dig way into much like the analytics of it, and what, engagement I'm getting myself from it. And so I would say first thing to hit on is definitely have a background banner, a picture up there, plus also have, a picture of yourself. There's so many times where, as a recruiter, I'm on LinkedIn and someone doesn't have a profile picture. And I think to myself, is this person even real? Like, I don't, it just helps. And LinkedIn shows, the stats show that if you do just have a picture on your LinkedIn, you're, for job applications, people connecting with you, you connecting with people, and increase your engagement by over 50%. Just having 50%. So just having a picture in that would be, simple, right? And then kind of moving down.
Can I just say one thing about that picture? By the way, just if you have not, or if you're not aware, at our career fair on May 15th, we are going to have free LinkedIn pictures. We have a LinkedIn photo booth. And even if you're not, come and get your picture taken, I'll tell you, because that makes a big difference versus an iPhone picture for your LinkedIn profile. Come and get it. It's free. We only do them at the career fairs. So I just want to mention that. And again, it's from 4 to 6:30. So if you check out mine, Cheryl Carr, you can see I had mine taken last year at a career fair. It looks very professional.
Yeah. And if you want to, take this for what it's worth. If you don't get one at the career fair, look up Sean Lee Studios. He's a great photographer. He did my headshot, all of our team's headshots, very professional, super fun person to work with. And then just moving down on the LinkedIn profile, you'll see a spot where it says summary, put a little blurb about yourself, right? Put in what positions or opportunities or companies you're trying to pursue, but also to make it fun as well. Say I like to go hiking, or myself, I love to go to breweries, I love to plan travels, I love to see unique Airbnbs, whatever it is. That's a space in that summary part right there that I see a blank a lot, just to kind of promote yourself. And you can also use that as kind of a sample elevator pitch within that. So make it both, I would say, professional, right? What you're looking for, kind of beginning, kind of end it with more of, fun things about you, or more of your personality, shed color on that. And then also in that summary, put your contact information in there. It gives you the text box for a reason. Put your email, put your phone number,
So if someone's connecting with you or wants to reach out and try to recruit you for a position, hey, your contact information is already in there. And there's also a spot in your profile we can actually put your contact info in there. So if someone clicks on that, they can already see it right there. And then work experience wise, I know you might be saying to yourself, well, I don't have any work experience, right? So, or some people may not have any work experience, but has there been any clubs, any associations, either inside or outside the university, that, you know, you can put on there, any internships, right, to kind of make that part of your experience a little bit more bulkier. And then what I always recommend, is kind of keep it, you know, short and sweet a little bit on the descriptions of what you're putting underneath each position. I'm a fan of bullet points. And so I would recommend anywhere from, you know, 5 to 7 bullet points, you know, on your LinkedIn profile of really, you know, if possible, you know, successes that you've had. Start off with a success and how you're able to get there, right? And so always recommend that. And then kind of just moving more down to your profile, what I search for and what our team searches for, you know, as we're being recruiters and we work with companies, you know, mostly in Metro Detroit, but across the whole US, is the skills section. So you can add any skill that you want in there. And then also your connections can endorse you for the skills that you have. So let's say, you know, you put in customer service, let's say you put in accounting, trying to think, you know, business acumen, you know, communication. It will pre-populate all those skills for you where you can just, you know, or do the plus sign and add them in. Or you can put your own skill in there. And then the more, you know, you do that, more connections you have, the more endorsements you get. And so when people look at that skill section, or a recruiter like myself, you know, looks at that skill section, we're trying to find someone with those skills, your name's going to pop up to the top of that list. And then lastly, the bottom half, or the bottom part of LinkedIn is recommendations. Recommendations are huge, right? It's your personal branding yourself. And so put those recommendations in, and I would ask everyone that's on this call right now, that's on LinkedIn, hey, let's all write each other a recommendation, right? To build that up, or ask, you know, people that you know, or other connections that you know, because if someone, you know, looks at your profile, you know, has a great headshot, you know, you have the summary, you have the experience, that recommendation, it's almost a reference check. That's what other people are saying about you. People are saying great things about you. And the more time people are saying great things about you, the more raving fans that you'll have, and more opportunities that you're going to get out of that too. So how to do that. If you're, you know, have a connection on LinkedIn, you go to their profile. There'll be a spot at the top where it says buy connect. There's these 3 dots. Click on these 3 dots, go down from there, and then, you know, click request recommendation, and it'll automatically pre-populate a message, and you can change that message up if you want, but then it'll send them a request to have them write you a recommendation that'll always, no matter what, be on your profile with that. So that's, you know, could always go a lot more deeper into LinkedIn, but, you know, kind of the basics of that. And I think I missed a question with like job searching, or finding jobs. Is that right, Cheryl?
Yeah, let me, sorry about that.
Oh, you're good.
Let me get that chat back up. Okay. I know someone asked specifically about searching for a job in the IT space.
Okay.
But okay, so what if someone has a 5-month gap? How do you explain a career gap of more than like 5 months or more? What do you do?
Yeah,
It's a tough one.
that is tough. Right. And so within that gap, are we still staying on LinkedIn, or just in general, like if someone has a 5-month gap and how to go about it?
I would say the 5-month gap overall in their job search. And if you want her, I think it's Haraka. If you want to expand on that at all, just feel free to unmute yourself.
Yeah, so in general, so I I gave my resignation in December due to the work environment. It's a holistic. So I left the company in a bad terms. And I started doing my master's in accounting. In the spring, I enrolled it. So right now I'm looking around 5 months career gap. And I had over 2.5 years of professional experience. So how do I explain myself?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. We get asked that a lot. I would say, if it's on, resume, LinkedIn, just like formatting that, you can put an extra job in there, but just put it as, career transition, right? And explain, some of the reasons why, you left your last position and the reasons why, you're looking for that new position too, right? And so it's still on the resume and it's not just a blank spot, because if this is a blank spot, everyone is going to assume, what are you doing? You haven't been working for that long. What's happening? What's going on? But if it's, just talking about the resume and then LinkedIn, if it's on that, right, at least give some more detail of kind of what transpired, what happened, through these past 5 months and, still applying for jobs. But then once, let's say you're in the interview, explaining that, I always tell everyone to be open, honest, and truthful. And so when you're in the interview and you're going through that, what I would do myself, if someone asks you to walk through your background, I would go from past to present. And then once you get to that gap of saying, hey, the reason why you left your last job, it, like you said, for, person myself, it was not a great work environment, not a great culture. I couldn't really see myself being there long term. And I keep on progressing my career with the right team, the right company. And so with that being said, based on the experience that I've had, this is what I've learned. And this is what I'm looking for moving forward is a great, work environment, a great team, great company, great benefits, whatever that might be to you specifically. And so, bringing that up in the interview, if they ask you, I always say be open, honest, and truthful. And then just letting them know, hey, this is what happened to me. But then after that, say, well, since I've been through this experience, I know now what I'm looking for is X, Y, Z. And that could be a multitude of many things. I'm not sure, does that help out? Does that answer the question or?
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Okay. Yeah.
And how do you
tough.
put that on your resume? I guess sometimes I have put like, that students are in Walsh, a current student, something like that, depending on, instead of like having nothing, on the resume. You could put volunteer experience sometimes too, to fill gaps. Or, you just gotta, make sure that, I guess that you just have to be careful how you do it. I think that each individual situation too is individual. And
Yeah.
happy to help you with that. Sometimes there's some ways you can handle dates and things like that are still truthful, but you don't have to reveal everything, especially if it's not to your benefit. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Exactly.
I hear you. I hear you. Yep.
Yeah, because it's the resume, right, is just it's just a foot in the door, right? No one ever got hired or fired off the resume, right? You're just trying to get teed up the first conversation. And so I mean, I recommend, if there is, a gap, right, or a career transition, you put something in with those timeframes and at least give a little description by it. Where I see it a lot sometimes on mine is that there's a big layoff, or budget cuts, or it could just be someone you're relocating to a new state, right, or a new area. And so if you put that in there, you're being upfront, honest about it. And then for myself, looking at resumes all day, every day, if I see that, I'm like, oh, okay, well, at least I know a little bit of their story more. I want to find out more about this. Rather, if you leave it off, you can leave that other, the hiring manager or another recruiter, they can assume anything that they want. So I guess, would you rather let them assume anything that they want, or would you rather be it on your own terms and, put that information in. And so I'd always go to the latter part of just saying, putting that information in for sure.
Okay. Thank you. I have another question here. Let's see. A lot of employers are looking for entry-level roles. How do you present yourself when you're a grad program alumni and have professional experience? So, you know, is it Chloe? If you do want to mute yourself and expand on that, feel free. Chloe Coppersmith.
Yes, yours truly. So I think the biggest thing I run into when I go to career fairs is, especially with this, is that I have over a decade of professional experience. And like, while I always am actively looking to, you know, network, make connections, things like that, a lot of times though of the recruiters that are there may be looking for those entry-level roles, and you mentioned, you know, making connections with the people in that department, but is there a different way you should market yourself when you are like, when you have that experience and you have the master's degree, things like that?
Yes. Yeah, I definitely understand that, because that does, you know, that does happen, you know, quite often, I would say. So, I would say that, you know, even if it is like, don't be, you know, I would say if they reach out to you for an entry level role, and you're like, oh, this is just like, this is not what I want to do. This is not like the position I want. They'll see that in the interview, right? They'll go through that, but I would hate for anyone just to decline like a conversation, because, you know, that conversation, you know, might not be after talk with that, you know, person, hiring manager, individual on the company side. You know, light bulbs will go off saying, whoa, you're way too like overqualified for this. And then you could still ask that person, okay, you know, seems like I'm, you know, overqualified for this position you reached out to me for. But, you know, based on our conversation, our interview, what we talked about today, what other positions are available that'd be, you know, better suited for myself and the company as a whole, right? I see that a lot, where sometimes we get reached out to, okay, reaching out for this lower level position. Oh, this is not me. I'm just not going to even take the conversation. No, I would say take that conversation, roll with the punches, and then take that conversation as information gathering, but also take the time to see what other opportunities, what other positions are available in that company. And really, I mean, when you're, you know, going up, I think, to like career fair or applying for jobs, you know, really put in, if we're talking about the resume, if you know, put in the top of your resume your objective, right? Saying, I'm looking for a senior level role, you know, in accounting, or it could be even more specific than that. Like, I'm looking for, you know, a senior accountant, controller, accounting manager role in accounting for my next career move, and make it just really focused and targeted that way, and put that, you know, in your resume on LinkedIn, because, you know, hopefully that hiring manager, hopefully the company, they're going to read your resume and see that and see your objective and what you're trying to do. And so hopefully that doesn't mix into their interviewing for, you know, this lower level position. But I would say my recommendation on that is give, you know, take the interview, take the conversation. At least you'll be in their talent pool and have that conversation, rather than never having that at all. You might miss out on some future opportunities, you know, that are down the road that you could be a good fit for. And once they remember your conversation, you know, you'll be the first one to be reached out to. So that's a tough one, though. That is. Yeah.
Adam, do you recruit much? Are you finding, just in the job market as a whole, you recruit primarily for professional positions, correct?
Correct. Yeah, we do a lot of, right now, I'd say currently, a lot of accounting, finance, HR, construction, civil engineering, some sales and marketing positions here and there. I have recruited in IT before. Like I mentioned, I'm not the super professional in that space. But it's similar to no matter what your discipline, what you're going for, you know, the way you can go about it is pretty much similar across the board, I think.
Yeah. So are you finding the job market, how do you find it now versus 6 months ago? And are you seeing any difference? Because I have been talking to individuals and they feel the market has changed and that is easy to find a job right now.
Yeah, it's definitely, I was just looking through a report yesterday and this morning. It's like our job insights reports. And so, you know, through our company, there's about 840 offices worldwide, majority in the US and Canada. So we pooled all the, you know, thousands of employers and figuring out the obstacles and challenges of hiring just in this first half of the year and what it's looking like moving into next year. And so what employers are saying, 52% of employers are having a hard time finding qualified candidates. And then 27% of employers are finding candidates like yourselves that just aren't matching up to the opportunities, you know, when to applying to positions. So the jobs out there right now, there's still a ton of jobs posted, right? And I think the market has gotten a little bit more competitive, I would say, after the COVID pandemic that we had. And so there's more job seekers now. There's still a lot of open positions out there, but what I'm noticing is that when positions are open, you know, you can look on it, LinkedIn is easy to see. You can see how many applicants you're up against, right? Some of these ones have like thousands or 10,000s of applicants. And so it's very, I would say it's still very difficult. Even that you see, and don't get discouraged by it. You see all these open jobs and you're like, why am I not getting any conversations back? Or, you know, I could be thinking to myself, what's wrong with me, right? Why me in that situation? But I think, you know, with that being said, how do you stick out, you know, out of the market, out of the sea of other people that are out there applying for positions, right? Are you, you know, reaching out to people through LinkedIn connections or through other, you know, mutual family, friends, associations, other colleagues, right? To get you connected in that company. You really have to go take a step forward now rather than just pressing apply and putting your name in the hat. You got to have, you know, I would say you have to know someone that knows someone, but you have to put, you know, yourself out there, you know, reach out to other people in that company. You know, if they have the job posted on, it could be LinkedIn, ZipRecruiter, Indeed, whatever sites they have posted on, apply to everyone, but go the extra mile. And I always use LinkedIn because it's the easy way to connect, but, you know, shoot them that message, you know, follow up and just saying, hey, I'm really interested in your company. Would you be open to a 5-minute conversation just so I could learn a little bit more about what you all do? And naturally, a lot of people have had success with that because everyone loves to talk about themselves, right? And everyone wants to, you know, speak and help each other out. So I would say, yeah, you have to now, since it's very competitive, there's more job seekers, even still a lot of open positions. That's where it gets more competitive. And that's, you know, you all are up against a lot more competition out there with other job seekers than there was before, I would say.
Before the pandemic?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and what kind of things can you do to differentiate yourself? What, like certifications, things like that? Is that going to help if someone doesn't have experience? You know, how can they get that? They can learn skills that employers are looking for through certifications and things like that, correct?
Correct. Yeah. I mean, I guess go back to LinkedIn, but there's a lot of LinkedIn learnings, right? That you can take, a lot of quick courses online, and that'll be attached right to your LinkedIn. Or, you know, if you're in, I would say, you know, IT or trying to move yourself in the IT, I know there's a great association, Grand Circus, right? That'll teach you coding from the ground up and give you a certification, you know, after you complete kind of their boot camp or their programs that they have there. And so I would say depending on, the discipline that you're in, and what you're seeking for, certifications, any type of licenses, the more that you have, the better, I would say. And the more that you're going to stick out of the sea of candidates that are out there, if you have those, the more, I would say, opportunities you're going to receive too. So yeah, it could be anything from, it's either an academic, like an MBA, right, or a CPA, or really any certification, designation, license that you can get. That's what you're trying to do and what you're trying to go into. The more that you have, the better.
I have a couple questions here from Olvin. So she's got 10 plus years in IT app cloud enablement. She says getting past the ATS systems is very challenging with so many candidates. And any recommendation on the applicant tracking systems?
Yes, for sure. I mean, we have one ourselves, so I can definitely speak to that. And we work obviously with a lot of companies that have their own that we're connected to. And so what I always do, or what I always recommend when applying for a position, it takes a little bit of time, but if you're looking at an opening or a job posting online, pull that up on one side and then pull your resume up on the other side. Okay, what essentially in applicant tracking systems, they're looking for like keywords, skills, buzzwords. And if you don't hit on, I don't know, it could be anything like 3 out of the 4 of them or 4 out of the 5 of them, then your resume may never ever get looked at, right? And so look at that job posting. What are some of the keywords, skills, buzzwords that they're using in theirs? And then on your resume, obviously be truthful about it with skills that you have. But, form your resume and put in some of those keywords, skill words, buzzwords in your resume. So when you do apply, it's going to match up, it's going to hit, it's going to be more likely, to make a match through the applicant tracking system. And so, to put you up front on that list. But that is, I mean, I would say that is definitely like top recommendation for that. It does take some time, but I've seen success through, and I've seen it work out too.
Pull it up side by side.
Yeah.
Also, what's the best strategy to make someone memorable to an employer at a career fair?
Ooh, good question. Yeah. I would say, make it personal, right? And so, if you're walking up to that person, they're talking about jobs, talking about, things that they're about their company, what they're trying to do, right? Talk to them kind of like you're their friends, right? Like, hey, do you have any, just curious, like, do you have any big plans or big vacations coming up? Oh, really? You're going to Italy? Oh, where are you going in Italy? That's awesome. And, really any of those questions, or, hey, where do you live about? Oh, actually you live in the same city as I do, or, hey, I live right there. It could be as simple as that, because if you do that, you can use that, right, in your follow-up message or on LinkedIn, like, hey, had a great time connecting at the, career fair. Have a great trip to Italy. Let's connect when you get back, or something of that nature, I would say. But the more, because at career fairs myself, right, people are coming up and you're kind of saying the same thing over and over and over again. But if someone just asked me a question out of the blue and really truly, and you mean it, right, really truly wants to get to know you as a person, ask those questions, ask questions on the personal side, or, kind of ask too, like, hey, this sounds like a great company. How'd you get your foot in the door? Like, why do you really love working here? What did that look like for you? I mean, I'm in the mode of, getting a new job or new career. Like, how'd you go through it yourself? Right. And so, bringing that person into the conversation, asking them not only about, the job and the company and everything, but, just really, how can you make that personable to where they'll remember you? And just taking one simple thing that they said, write that down in your notebook, come back to it, and then use that in your follow-up. That goes a long, long way too, because it's not, employers aren't only looking for, skills and just the experience. They want to know what your personality is like. They want to know what you do in your off time and your fun time. And if you can connect with a person on the same level or have the same personal interest, they're going to remember you. And then it's up to you to kind of follow back up on that and, bring that up in conversation again and go through that.
Thank you, email.
Yeah.
So what about, I know you're in the you're a recruiter, so you're kind of acting between an employer and the candidate, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
And
yeah.
so I know I get sometimes, do you think, number one, and candidates should not be paying for that? It should be the employers paying, correct?
Yeah, I get that question a lot. Yeah.
Okay. And also,
no
like,
one should
what's
pay
the
a recruiter.
advantage? Yes. And what's the advantage and how do they find a headhunter? I know that's exactly the, and I know there's industry specific recruiters, but you yourself are more, you hit various industries, but what's the advantage and how do you find one in general?
Yeah. Well, selfish plug, everyone connect with me on LinkedIn. That is for sure. Even if it's not myself, even if I can't help you, I know a lot of recruiters because I try to recruit recruiters for my team, and I'll try to put you to the best person as possible. But let's say if you're in like IT, for example, some of the, I would say, recruiting agencies to look out for would be like a tech systems, an aerotech. I feel bad because some of these are our competitors, but like a tech systems, aerotech, but there's enough business out there for everyone. I've worked with a few people at tech systems and they're awesome. They're great. They're pretty much all IT. And then, really, we do a lot of accounting and finance, so happy to help there. But, a name out there is, Robert Half. So they're always out there too. They have a lot of accounting and finance positions that are out there. LHH is another one for that. Ashton Carter is another one for that as well too. So I would say if you're looking for, a headhunter, recruiter, talent acquisition specialist, I keep going back to LinkedIn, but, use LinkedIn, right? Search through, your connections, see what recruiters, just typing recruiter in the search bar, in Detroit metropolitan area, see who pops up, right? And, do the same thing, shoot them that sample message, because our industry, for a fact, the recruiting industry is a $150 billion industry, but it has a client satisfaction rate as a cable company does. And we all know how it feels like to deal with a cable company. And so it's because sometimes recruiters aren't transparent. They don't know what they're looking for. Their fees can be way too much, and the list can go on and on and on. So it is really hard to find a great recruiter out there, someone that's willing to take the time, willing to help you find new opportunities. But I would say they're out there, right? As much as I wish we had more people reaching out to us than we reach out to them, that's sometimes the way it is. So, be vulnerable, put yourself out there, and we can only grow if we're uncomfortable. So get outside your comfort zone, and make that reach out too. So there's so many. I mean, there's so many recruiters out there, but there's also, like any industry, there's a lot of good and bad ones too, and a lot of people have had a lot of bad experiences. So it's just one sample size, and don't take that for the whole piece of the pie. Yeah.
Can you advise?
Thank you.
You don't mind if people connect with you direct? Do you want to share your email address as well, or no?
Yeah, I'll share my well, I'm on my phone, but I'll make sure to put it in the chat.
Yeah. I'll send it in follow up if it's okay with you. I don't know if you'll have any openings for them, but maybe you can connect them with other recruiters that may be helpful, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Just within just different HR groups I'm in, or different recruiters that I know who are really, really good. If I can't help out a person, right? I'm not just going to leave you hanging high and dry. I want to connect you with a person, that will be able to help out. And so, that's where the relationships and the connections become involved. Okay, I'm connecting, through myself, through another, friend or recruiter that's out there saying, hey, you really need to talk with so and so. Here, I'll send an email introduction, and from there, take it and go with it from that too. So yeah, happy to connect. Yeah.
Okay, one thing I did want to ask, and then I know we don't have a lot of time, about LinkedIn groups. Do you belong to, groups? Do you think groups are a good place for individuals to network with, to really expand their network on LinkedIn?
They can, I say that, but they can also be very hit and miss. I would say with that too, based on the group, the activity that's in a group, if it's active or not active. And you can tell that by going into that group and seeing, when was their last post or when was the last activity that was in that group. But I would always say any groups that, are career focused, right? That are kind of in your discipline, or in your field of area that you want to join. So whether it be, an IT group, I don't know, accounting group, construction group, wherever it might be, the more that you plug yourself into that and you see other people in that group and you're commenting, you're liking, you're sharing other people's posts in that group, and you see other people doing that too. Well, if someone's really active like you are, well, hey, reach out to them and connect with them too, and seeing if they're in a role right now and similar to a job that you may want to have in the future. Hey, reach out to them saying, hey, how did you get your job? Is your company hiring? Do you know anyone within your own network that I should be in touch with or that I should reach out to for potential career opportunities? Or hey, do you know of any great recruiters that have gotten you into positions that I should connect with too? Asking questions like that just to kind of move the needle forward from not only, connect with that person, but, when you do connect in a certain way, utilize their connections, utilize their network, because it's a spider web, because that one person might know 10 people really, really well. They'll connect with that other person. That other person might know 10 people really well. And so you just want to expand it as much as you can. And you want to let as many people know out there that this is, be very specific. This is what I'm looking for. This is what I want in my next career move. And maybe some companies you do want to work for too. And so putting that out to the person, the more specific you can, the more target it's going to be when you're trying to find a job and going through your job search out there. And the more people are going to be talking about you, and the more people that talk about you, hopefully in the best way possible, but more people that talk about you, the more opportunities that you're going to have.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. We did pretty much discuss all the questions in the chat. If anybody has any last minute questions, I know there are people that need to leave at 1 o'clock. I'm sure, Adam, I don't know if you need to leave right at 1 on 1.
Oh, good.
Okay, so if anybody has any other questions, we can go ahead and address those. But if anybody has to leave, again at 1 o'clock, I want to be mindful of everybody's time. So
Yeah. I mean, I would be curious too if anyone wants to answer this. I mean, how has, applying for jobs, the job market been for you all? Are you applying a lot and getting no hits, or no, responses back, or are you getting into interviews and you're not making that next step move forward? I'm just curious from, on your guys' side of the table. Oh, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, real quickly, and thank you everyone for your information and sharing that.
Yeah.
My experience, and I'm kind of jumping the gun here because I had, just so you can, if you give anybody some insight to be protected, unfortunately, there are some fake recruiters out there and jobs out there. And I had my account, I got hacked on LinkedIn, and it took me about a month to get my LinkedIn account back because they literally removed everything, my certifications, my pictures, and just redid it, my whole profile. And there's no repudiation at LinkedIn where they have a backup of all your information. So key to everyone, make sure you have a copy of your profile, and it will hopefully won't happen to you. But I applied for a job, and dealing with a lot of these companies like Delta Airlines. I know
Yeah.
I actually personally know former stepson of mine and all that works there. And unfortunately, I found out that Delta doesn't even hire the IT people off their website. They go through a third party, which is in India. And then there's another company that I have a good relationship with somebody, and they're hiring through a company in Mexico. And so you got all these different companies that's contacting, and they need to get your like date of birth, month, your last 4 of your social, and they demand a driver's license. And within that process of me thinking this is the norm, I gave them the
Oh,
information, ended up getting I ended up getting my bank account hacked, my LinkedIn hacked, and I didn't even know that this is a real thing, that fake recruiters out there for jobs. Anyway, you can provide just any tips for safety for those who are seeking jobs. I just want to make sure I get this input for somebody that seems like you're a reliable source. Any insight in that?
Yeah,
wow. Well, first of all, I feel bad for you.
You shouldn't provide that information until you get that job offer. Period.
Yeah, 100%. Everything before, before you have to, usually you get the offer, then you have to fill out, if you haven't already, a job application. But, when it's that first, front side of it, when you're talking to an interviews, don't provide any personal information. I mean, you can provide obviously on your resume, like, address and phone number and email, right? Or you could just put in the city that you live, and then your phone number and email with that too. So that's, common on resumes. But, no one, until there's, a potential offer out there, or, it's a credible source of filling out an application with a person you have already had multiple conversations with, then don't give out that personal information, I would say, to that. And really look at, I mean, you, as much as companies and myself do a lot of research, I mean, do a lot of background search, do a lot of digging on the person that you're talking to, right? Like Google, even just Google search that person. Okay, what is this person? Do they have like I don't know, Facebook or what, Instagram or whatever it might be, right? And is there a LinkedIn profile? Like, I feel like we all kind of sometimes have that gut feeling where it's like, this is kind of like, this could be a little bit, I don't know, uncommon or kind of sketchy. And so, is it just someone out of the blue, or, hey, it's, where they're based at? Just, it's really, you kind of have to make a judgment call and fact find on that information, from the onset. But I would still say, yeah, I mean, do as much as, companies are doing research on you, you have to do your due diligence on not only the company, but the person that you're actually talking to and speaking with.
Now, because I had this information from a vice president of a recruiting firm, and he's in my professional group in Lansing, and he said for his company to be a contractor to vet for candidates, they have to provide them a driver's license, especially for submitting for the state of Michigan. And so I had dinner with this
Wow.
guy. I'm in a professional group with them, and he said, and he's the vice president of his recruiting firm. He said, because he's a third party for the state of Michigan, particularly, and for the state of Ohio, that's a requirement that he have his recruiters requesting for candidates, because they have to have that driver's license to show that this is a real person. And I said, okay, and that's why I continue to do that, because he's telling me if third party agencies are being hired, that's part of the requirements for them to get more details before they even just so to be vetted. So any
The
follow-up
driver's
questions on that?
Wow. Interesting. Wow, that is really interesting.
Depends
Just
if you want-
because,
how bad you want the job, but I don't know, I'd still be leery.
yeah, because there's two types of, like, in recruiting, it's contract to hire, or contract, and then there's direct hire, where we're directly hired onto the company. But I mean, the way that, it's the way that we personally, do it, and part of a big organization, so we get audited, all of our I-9s and everything from back to front. We collect that information when, okay, we extend someone, like if it's a contract job, extend someone the job, and then we have them physically come into our office, and they're filling out all their I-9s, background check, all that information. But, through that, we know that, that person's going to be a fit for the job. So that's kind of, I mean, it's kind of scary just because, I mean, that's a crazy example because you met the person and like had dinner and all that. That's like, wow, that is definitely pretty
Yeah, he's
shady.
connected to Michigan Works in Lansing, because they have a partnership to help job seekers in Lansing at the Lansing of Michigan Works office to help filter and help candidates get job. And I used to work at Michigan Works. It is a legit, unemployment agency that's partnered with
Yeah.
the state of Michigan.
Yeah.
But he literally told me when we was in our monthly Lansing meetup group, that's a professional network group that we have out there. He said, yep, third-party recruiters now, because I guess they get money for how many applicants they have in their pipeline, and they have to do a lot of vetting just so the client is not wasting your time with people who are not serious going. And I guess this is just for their branding and for their ROI. So
maybe
and he told me that that's a requirement now for third-party agencies. So it's kind of tricky out there now.
Yeah, no, that's definitely, that's a good one to put in the storybook for my side. Cause yeah, but yeah, I would say I can't say anything for them. We operate differently when we're putting someone on contract or, a contract to hire position. We know they're the real person because they physically come into our office and fill out all the paperwork, and we work together with them to do that. And just, because of our company, we get audited, right? If we do one thing wrong, that could shut us down. So I'm glad I'm with the company I'm with because of that.
Yeah.
So,
exactly. Yeah. Okay, well, it is almost 1:10, so we'll go ahead and close this down. I know we kept over, and I thank you for those that have stayed over. But again, I'll be sending a Zoom link of the recording, and also Adam's contact information, if that's okay. And it was very interesting hearing from a recruiter's point of view, on the whole job search process. And
no, I appreciate it. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I guess that's life at the same time. So, but I'm glad, I'm happy to be here and happy to connect offline with any questions or anything. I mean, I don't know everything in the world, so you all could probably definitely teach me as much as I could teach you. And happy to field any questions. And if I don't know anything, I'll just say, hey, I don't know. That's a great question. I'll try to connect you with someone that, does know the answer.
Yeah. And feel free to connect with Career Services. Just email us if you want to make an appointment. Our career fair is coming up, so I'm sure we'll meet. People are going to need appointments for that. So
I just did, Cheryl. Thank you. Thank you, Adam.
All right.
Yes,
Have a good day, everybody.
You too.
Thanks, Adam.
Thank you.